G'day everybody, Duckville here bringing you the latest and greatest replays. This one is actually sent in to me by our player down in blue in the bottom left hand side of Cloud Kingdom. It is going to be my good buddy OneStar. He unfortunately sort of mistyped his name when he went to create his account. Well, this particular account, he's got like 6 accounts or something like that. It's insane. Yeah, he's going to be playing down in the bottom side of Cloud Kingdom against a Zergy-looking opponent in the red. Up the top, it is Supreme, formerly of FXOSupreme, but of course now that is the Korean arm of FXO. Of course, with some really great players on the team, of course, with some people who have been interestingly really proving themselves lately. Choya has been doing some crazy stuff. I'll be honest, I actually am unsure of how he's winning some games. I think he's sort of dropped off a little bit since he became the coach of the team, which is, of course, understandable, but he's, either way, he's been doing some winning lately, which is always fun to see. Of course, they have Lenok and some of those other really great players, but Supreme, one of the little bit more of the unknown on the team. I don't think everybody will have heard of Supreme before. He does compete in some of those more regional little tournaments that go on between the Korean teams and that sort of thing, like the Korean Weekly, I believe. I may just be spouting random things, but let's pretend he is, and if he isn't, there's good motivation to actually go in it. He's going to be scouting out what OneStar is up to, just usual sorts of things coming through here. Just going to jump around the backs and then bounce back in. He's doing all sorts of crazy dancing. He did not actually check the gas, which is a little bit interesting. There you go, getting the job done the second time around. Does find that OneStar has got just the standard sort of opening here with the refinery on the way. The racks is just about to complete. And this is probably going to signal that Supreme will have to deal with a very standard looking reactor Hellion opening. Meanwhile, for Supreme, just looking at what he's up to, getting the hatchery first. We've got the extractor also on the way, probably going to be getting out some speedlings as quick as he can to make sure that he can defend against those Hellions, which will be quite inevitable very soon. And also that spawning pool going down. Actually very late there. He's very surprising to see how late that came out. He's making sure that he's getting his drone count up as much as possible. Meanwhile, OneStar with just probably going to get 2 Marines. I believe he can fit out 2 Marines in the time that it takes to get out, oh hang on, no, the timing that it takes to get a reactor down, like you don't actually have to put the reactor down straight away. You can actually get a couple of Marines out, and he already does have 2. He's just sending 1 up to the watchtower just now. Looks as if he might be aiming to try and find the initial scouting overlord, and he is going to actually find it here. His SCV just escaping from the clutches of those drones up there, but the Overlord is actually under threat right now. Given that the racks can float across, of course, that really helps out with getting some vision above this high ground here where the Overlord is trying to float around. Meanwhile, where's that second Marine? He is going to head around the side, and the Overlord is just getting out of range here from this side of the ridge, but perhaps the Marine on the opposite side may be able to see it. The racks is now trying to keep up pace. The Overlord down to 42 HP. That's going to start regenerating around about now. There it is. Down to 37, 26, 20. Not long to go. That Overlord is not going to die. Gets down to 9 HP, and keep that in mind, Zergy players. This is a sweet spot here where you can't actually get hit, so that's always something good to remember when you're playing. Meanwhile, OneStar has just actually gotten a tech lab straight up on his factory, not the standard double reactor, the double Hellion coming out of there, so he's going to get blue flame very quickly, which is a little bit different to what you would normally see. He's then going to get a reactor across here on the racks after it's done its a good duty of trying to kill off that Overlord. Meanwhile, for Supreme, he's just getting his injects going, getting the creep spread started very early, which I really like, and just continuing on to be just a normal sort of Zergy state right now, just pushing out a couple of drones. The Ling speed is just finished, which is going to help him get around the map, do some scouting, just making sure that he can check out these sorts of areas here. You don't want any pesky sort of buildings hanging around, which could provide a random unit or 2 if some sort of rush was to come out. Of course, you can still see some from time to time. You can still see people do crazy things with like a proxy factory or things with a starport or something like that, but that's not going to be the case here, of course, when OneStar started out with just the 1 gas That is a good signal that he's not going to do anything crazy initially. And of course, as we can see, we've got the fast expansion with the extra racks now coming along as well. So the Lings are going to try and bust inside. Only 2 Marines there at the bunker. They are going to be able to stop the Lings before they get through, and the bunker completes, lets the Marines in, and there's not going to be any more Lings trying to pass through that sector of the map for now. Interesting thing we're going to keep an eye on is the gas intake for Supreme. It looks as if he's got the 3 extractors there, got the lair on the way, and he is starting to bank up a little bit of gas here. So we'll probably, I'm thinking, see him jump up to the Mutalisks pretty quickly. Just going to bypass the Roaches for the moment. He does have 1 Spine Crawler and a couple of Queens out, along with some extra Lings here, as you can see, which signals that he's obviously going to just totally bypass the Roaches for now and go for the Spire, which, as we can see, has just started up to the top right-hand side of the main base. So he's not afraid of any sort of early pushes, to be honest. Like, obviously he saw that the Hellions came out, and he's going to see in, or he may have already seen, that the Hellions already have Blue Flame, as we can see. Their extra damage going up to 19 against Light, so they're going to absolutely destroy any Lings that come by. This guy has no idea how close he is to death. Just look at him, he's going to hang out there. The Hellions can see him above the cliff, and they almost got into position to roast that little Ling, but he got away just in time. Meanwhile, for OneStar, let's have a look at what he's up to. He's just got all the standard mining going. The second refinery has only just come along, so we're probably going to see a very standard sort of build here from OneStar with a lot of Marines. Probably we're going to see a switch over to tanks very soon as well, and then we'll see if he's going to push. But he's still continuing to crank out these Hellions. It's very interesting to see, so we'll find out exactly what he's going to go for in a moment. But we do have a little bit of a battle here with the Lings trying to catch the Hellions out of position, but there's 4 Hellions with Blue Flame there. You do not want to engage that, little Lings. They are going to be roasted up by that. In fact, the Queen is going to have a bad time as well, but OneStar, being the very good player he is, actually targets down the creep tumors. It wasn't a guarantee killing that Queen, especially given that there was a lot of creep out here for her to run away with. Much better to actually take down the creep tumors to sort of mean that the energy that was used by the Queen is actually wasted then. So that is a nice little pickup there from OneStar. So he's now going to push out. It looks as if we've got a great amount of Hellions here. We've got 10 in total. Going to cover the sort of the Ling pressure that that Supreme might try and push back on against OneStar. And he's got a couple of Marauders here, which are also going to help with Roaches if there are any. Not to mention going to do a little bit of extra damage against these Spine Crawlers, but the Mutas are going to come along. They're going to be able to take care of those Hellions, but there are quite a lot of Marines here. They do have Combat Shield. Stim is still quite a while away, so I don't think this is actually going to do too much here. The Mutalisks actually just cleaning up those Marines quite quickly there, and the Mutalisks are also going down as well, but it looks as if OneStar is not going to have any fun with this push at all now that there is no anti-air at all. The Hellions and the Marauders trying to retreat as quickly as they can, trying to get back to the Marine defense back at home, but the Mutalisks are going to have an absolute ball just ripping through these Marauders as quickly as they can before they have to retreat. Meanwhile, the Hellions from OneStar just pushing up the left side of the map. It looks as if he may try and get a little bit of a counter-attack here at that third base. Is he actually aware of exactly what's going on? He should be. There is some creep here, which is a good signal that there is going to be something to attack into there, and it looks as if OneStar is just going to have a little bit of a Mutalisk problem here, but the Hellions now pushing inside, going to take down the Queen very easily here. A few drones are going to get roasted up. There are quite a bunch of them actually there grouped up. There's 6 in total there, getting roasted up, and 9 worker kills in total here for OneStar, so he's done quite a lot of damage here. The issue may be, are all these Hellions going to get back in time? They should be able to. The Mule is quite slow compared to those Hellions, and they will escape for the most part. A couple of them did get picked off, but not going to be a big problem here for OneStar. He's got really nice mining saturation here at both of the bases, of course, cranking out extra SCVs. He had a third command center, which is now being lifted across to the third base here, and the Mutas are going to have to be pushed away if he's going to keep this base operational, and a couple of turrets on the cliff going to help with that, and you'll probably see these Marines, yes they will, come across and help defend against those Mutalisks. But just looking at the mining operations for both players, OneStar doing a very nice job, sitting up at 60 SCVs already. Of course, that is not including those powerful mules. Meanwhile, for Supreme, he's got 63 drones himself, doing a very nice job as well. Maybe needing to crank that up just a little bit further to make sure that this third base is saturated. But of course, he's had to defend against a couple of attacks that OneStar has pushed up the side, and it looks as if we are going to get a Mutiling Bane composition as the main task force here for Supreme. He's got the +1 to air weapons on the way for those Mutalisks. It's going to help them out quite a bit. +1 to melee attacks for those Banelings as well, meaning that they'll explode in a glorious little fire there when they do go down to whatever units come across. But OneStar is now pushing up. He only has one tank here. The tank needs to get a good shot off, does not get targeted, and in fact the Banelings almost going straight for the tank there, which is not the best way to do it. But OneStar trying to split up the Marines, does a decent job, but there are so many Mutalisks here, and with their +1 to air weapons almost just done, he's going to be able to just tear apart everything here, and he does that quite well. So not the best attack there for OneStar, but this has let him secure the third base, or almost secure this third base here. He's got a nice little wall up just to help filter the Zerg units, which will no doubt be coming across. The Mutas just going to have a poke inside and see what exactly is defending here, and in fact it is absolutely nothing for the moment. There is one turret, a couple of Marines now coming down, a few tanks as well, and now it is actually properly defended. Meanwhile, the entrance to the natural is quite bare right now, so we'll see what OneStar is going to get up to with this. There are a total of 8 racks here. We've got 4 reactors in operation as well, so there's going to be so many Marines coming out here. OneStar just biding his time with a couple of these racks, not getting the upgrades on them straight away, because you don't actually need to get everything going. Of course, he does have one tech lab to help out with the upgrades as well. We've got 1 factory and 1 starport cranking out those medevacs, which are obviously quite useful as well. And it looks as if he may try and push up against push against the map again. Just pushing up to this 4th base here. He puts a scan down to see exactly what is happening. He's also getting a quick scout in on the right side with a medevac, but it actually goes down to Supreme. Good catch with those Mutalisks here, and this is a very nice push from OneStar, splitting up the Marines to make sure he can't get clumped up and annihilated by the Banelings, which are here from Supreme, but not in a huge amount. And here they come. Ling's going to swarm inside, taking most of the heat there. The Banelings now just coming across as well, dropping in some of those Banes against the tanks, but he it's just not a problem here for Supreme, just cleaning up regardless of dropping the Banes on the tanks. Of course, it's not the most efficient way to utilize those Banelings here. The Marines, speaking of which, being very nice here, are just coming outside, going to go to work on those Lings, and the tank does go down very quickly here. The Mutalisks are in a very high number here, as we can see. Mutalisks up to 18 right now. That is quite a lot of them. Could probably get a couple more snipes off on some of these buildings before they retreat, but he is going to head back just for now, and we'll see if OneStar is going to be able to sort of rebuild himself from this position here. The supply count obviously shows that these guys are very close, but as we can see, I'm pretty sure that a lot of that will be in the worker supply. Yeah, we've got just a slight lead here for Supreme in terms of his army count, but the issue for him at the moment is how is he going to secure a 4th base. He needs to get either this base or perhaps the base up in the corner up and running, but he needs to deal with some of these random attacks that are coming out from OneStar, and really love the map awareness here from OneStar. He's got some Marines just sort of randomly placed. We had a Hellion up the top here protecting that base, and we normally actually see him get a lot of supply depots sort of just randomly strewn throughout the map, but he hasn't done that just as of yet. Some Banelings very ominously just camping out at this 4th base here, perhaps expecting that the 4th base would be ready, but I don't think he's going to have too much of a problem with all of these Mutalisks up in the sky. We're up to a total of 27. Keep in mind that they do have that +1 to air weapons already done. +1 to the carapace is also going to come through as well, and 2-2 on those melee units is also going to be done in a short while as well. So we'll see how OneStar is going to defend against this. He has quite a few medevacs here, which are going to help out with healing up those Marines, but sniping down 2 of them very quickly here. Going to need to split as quickly as possible. A good tank hit there from OneStar, actually taking down most of those Banes there. He does lose 2 of the tanks that he had in this attack force, but now with all of those Banes just massively downsized there, Supreme is going to have to just rebuild those very quickly, although he does actually, there you go, he actually already has some across here, and an attack at the natural expansion, getting in quite quickly there, and getting a bit of damage done, taking down some of the drones. It looks like an extractor went down as well, and this actually allows OneStar to just sort of push back into position here. He may be able to head inside and have a look at the third, but there are so many Mutalisks up in the air here for Supreme. That is quite a lot to deal with. We're going to need to see some Thors out from OneStar very soon, and if we don't, I'm a little bit worried about how he's going to get through the rest of this game, but as we can see, the upgrade's looking very nice here for OneStar. These Marines trying to retreat as quickly as they can. It looks as if a sandwich attack is going to come in here. The Marines just splitting off to the side, not actually getting a full split, but the Banelings are being taken down by the tanks. In fact, sacrificing some of them on the tanks as well, and the Marines going down. In fact, that whole attack force has gone down from OneStar there. There is a couple of medevacs just also across on a random side of the map, but that was a little bit unfortunate. But now we've got a couple of Thors out. These guys are going to help out. They're going to have +2 to their weapons in just a moment, along with the Marines are going to have a little bit of an extra kick in their step with the +3 to weapons also on the way. So he's just cleaning up some of these creep chimmers that are out on the map, giving Supreme quite a lot of vision here. As we can see, he's only just lost the vision up to this sort of halfway point, which was quite a lot of very nice creep spread there. So it's quite impressed by that, but looks as if OneStar is going to head out on the map with the Thors, going to try and utilize their power against anti-air to deal with those Mutalisks here. We'll see if some nice magic boxing from Supreme comes out, but he doesn't actually magic box those too well. Does get on top of the Thors eventually, and the Bane's now coming in from the side, trying to split up some of those units. Does a nice job splitting them up, but there's still quite a few of these Marines around. There's another Thor still in the mix as well, and those Mutalisks have been absolutely annihilated there, and that could turn the tables. We now see that Supreme is at a supply of 97. He's not going to be able to drone up here at this fourth base at all. He's going to need to perhaps take this, oh, there you go, he's going to take this one down to the side. Meanwhile, OneStar has gotten his fourth base up. That is a big signal of how this game is perhaps going to turn now. OneStar has only got a couple of these Mutalisks out to worry about, so he could effectively start looking to push inside this third base here. If he can get up and secure a position sort of along here or this sort of section, and then start sending in little splinter cell attacks inside to the third base there, he would be in a really nice position. But catching a drop there, Supreme very well aware of what's going on this map here. The medevacs are treading water there and get taken down quite quickly, but the rest of the Marines still out on the map. Going to find this attempted fourth base here from Supreme. Not going to split up any of those because it looks as if we've got a double-pronged attack here from OneStar attacking into this third base. He's definitely going to lose this hatchery here. Supreme is going to be in quite a lot of trouble. There are, that fourth did get cleaned up quite easily there by Supreme, but the issue is now that this hatchery across to the side is going down. Where are the extra reinforcements from OneStar? He's going to need to send some across very soon, but the tanks off to the side are a little bit exposed right as of now. The Marines stimming up, trying to come across and defend them, and they do a good job of that actually. Only one of the tanks went down. There are 3 in total here in this task force that's just pushing across the map, and wow, look at this creep spread. That's actually inside this fourth base of OneStar, and that's a little bit ugly for him. Does take care of it with a scan and a planetary fortress going to work there. In fact, a couple of SCVs are also going to come along and say hello to those creatures, but not having a good day at all. Those SCVs come out, and it looks as if the Baneling's trying to get inside the SCV line, and they do get quite a few kills there, and that was a nice little attack. Almost took down the planetary as well. But this, look at this huge force of OneStar is just starting to get out of hand, completely out of hand. A queen tries to do her worst against that army, but there is no hope. And looking at what Supreme has right now, he is in, I'll have to say it, he's in a supreme amount of trouble here. Pun number 1 of the day is now done, and OneStar is now slowly leapfrogging these tanks across. So too many people just sort of will just send all of the tanks across and group them in the one position while they try and attack into a base. What you want to do is this beautiful segmentation of the units here, where you can just send out a few Marines to actually do the damage, and then take out a base. Meanwhile, OneStar has got a little bit of a counter-attack at his natural expansion to deal with. The Mutas coming through, the Baneling's doing a lot of damage to the supply depots there as well, but there are so many tanks and the marine reinforcements coming along are just way too much here for Supreme to deal with. OneStar is slightly supply blocked right as of now, but he can't actually build too much after 189 supply anyway. But things are looking very grim for Supreme. As we can see, his remaining drones are now just long distance mining across to this third base. He's in a lot of trouble. He's going to start losing creep through this middle section here, which means that he loses his vision, means that he loses his mobility with those Lings and Banelings on the ground. And as we can see, he's just morphing in perhaps the last stand for those Banelings. And with the Hive Tech still not even available here for Supreme, I think this is going to be his time of reckoning very soon. This big force now moving across the map. We've got 7 tanks. We have a whole heap of Marines here as well. We've got 81 Marines out on the map. There is 1 Thor to help out with the cluster of Mutalisks that still remain, and then he's really not going to have to deal with much at all. There are a couple of Infestors out. They do have a couple of Fungal Growths available, but the spread of OneStar is looking good here, and he should be able to push up and take this game, no doubt about that. Blasting away at those Banelings, does take care of those very easily with the tanks from afar. And that is all she wrote, folks. And a great job there by OneStar to just persevere after losing quite a lot of his forces during some of these big attacks. But with his really decent micro, he was able to come back and deal some really big blows against the attempted 4th bases of Supreme. So it was very nice from both of the players, regardless of the results. I hope you guys enjoyed that one. If you want to see some more action from OneStar, make sure you say hello to him on Twitter and tell him to send me some more replays, and I'll certainly be able to cast them for you. And we'll catch you all next time. Cheers.